years ago, the Witchfinder General had 19 so-called witches hanged in one day. 19 souls passed into the dark realm with their blood stained upon his hands.
That man alone was responsible for 300 executions. But up to our last century, bodies were still being found, with rusted iron rivets impaled through their joints and barbed wire dug deep into their flesh, allowing the maggots to eat them alive as they breathed their last breath, and all to stop them from returning after they were tortured to death.
John, it's time to bed.
But the child was nowhere to be seen. Considerably anxious that the child had vanished from its usual playing field, the mother dispatched the girl to Roadhill Station to inform the boy's father of the circumstance.
John! As she ran across the fields, desperately searching for the child, she was stopped in her frantic by a man who slinked out of the shadows.
Halt! Where are you running to in such a hurry, girl? I'd be careful if I were you, girl. There is kidnappers in this part of town.
Leave me alone until I find him. John! The boy was found, laying in the water. The man who had met her girl fished out the corpse with his umbrella. And upon holding the child's body, his blood retained the last warmth of his life.
Say, little John was drowned, and for the crime of wilful murder, Esther Lantern was sentenced to death.
Burial slab within this garden. Burial slabs were used by the families of those who have passed the veil of life and entered into the unknown. The slabs were placed to the tier, the unholy resurrection men of Liverpool. All grave robbers to you and me, from pilfering the dead's final possessions.
What makes this stone so unnatural is that it remains. Resurrection men would come and pilfer the possessions of the dead. The burial slabs were placed atop, whilst the grave would heal and the earth firm. What we must wonder, what lies beneath this slab that the families in history were so scared the grave robbers would one day get their hands upon? Or indeed, what scared them so much that they could not risk would one day escape?
Indeed, there is many a tale of repulsion and shock that tells of macabre fortunes has befallen some that was laid to rest here undead.
In England alone, 1 in 25 coffins had human nail marks scratch along their lids.
Picture the scene. Looking 6 feet in the earth. The smell of damp and rot burning your nostrils. As the engulfing darkness gets closer and closer. And as you cry for help, you realize you're beginning to drown in your own carbon dioxide.
Indeed, it became such a problem that the Victorians would tie a piece of string around the wrist of the deceased, attached to a bell atop the grave. It was the grave watcher's job to sit among the harsh nights and listen to the sound of Victorians frantically ringing their little bell. In Liverpool alone,
217 buried alive.
219 narrow escapes. 1 burned alive. 2 embalmed alive.
3 nearly missed dissections.
And 10 dissected alive. Picture the scene. Awaken to find your insides ripped apart, your lips sewn together, and the chemicals used to preserve you, stopping you from calling out for help.
No!
Sister!
Sister!
Leave us be! Come back at once!
Here lies Mary Ellen, the woman who fought to return home. And home she returned. Her body lies in the soil of her people forever.
Mary Ellen, board the SS Alan Vannon, leaving from the Isle of Man and returning to Liverpool. Upon board, there were only 15 passengers and 21 crew.
The SSL Environment was the slowest and smallest of the steam packet fleets. Yet she had given tremendous service, and the Board of Trade declared that she was in perfect condition on the night she sailed. The captain, Captain T, was one with 18 years' experience and did not anticipate any problems. However, the vessel never did come home. I have a wind, and I another.
And I myself have all the rest. Roaring clouds gathered in the southeast. They're dark. Charcoal blanket broken only by the falling shards of white fork lightning soaring towards the earth. A storm where the folks in the doom shed see the look at night. Rapid shifting of the dark forbidden air breathed a disturbance across the land. As the ship stayed, as the world raged around her.
Upon examination of the wreck, a 14-foot hole was found at the side of the vessel. The lifeboats had gone, which meant there had been an attempt to launch them, only giving false hope to the families of those who'd been on board. Only 3 bodies were found when the divers went down. The rest had vanished.
The captain, a Captain Tier, had only started his month's service that night.
He had to be on the ship that night. It was his destiny.
And little Mary Ellen? Well, she eventually washed up in the souls of her people. Her son, however, who also boarded the ship that night, did not. He was found by divers a week later. So, if you look at the dates of their burial on this slab, you will see the difference.